Oh yeah. Oh yeah, right. I did see this one. The crew. Sadly, right now the crew does not work on Linux. You are not able to play the game on Linux. There are problems with it. But the crew... Wait, Sorry, just saw a message from Kylo. The crew is... The crew is technically back. It's just the community are the ones that brought it back. YouTube? Hello? There we go. The crew is back. The Crew Unlimited... Is it worth playing? Is finally here. Is it worth playing in 2025? I hear the crew's actually a really fun game. I never got a chance to play it. Now, there are means to acquire the crew. I am not going to show you where you can acquire the crew. However, you are able to do so if you look around for it. You just gotta try a bit.
Folks, I'm so glad I can finally say that The Crew 1 is fully playable offline as of today, the 15th of September.
They're also the Crew Unlimited devs are also working on multiplayer servers as well. So right now, basically what you can do is launch a local server and you connect to the local server. But they're working on doing full online working multiplayer again, and that's super cool. That's really cool, and this wouldn't be the first time that racing game fans have done this. Need for Speed World, which is like the Need for Speed MMO. It's a combination of the Most Wanted map, the Carbon map. I think Underground 2 is in there as well. And that's been like a thing that's been working now for years. So racing game fans, they love to keep shit alive like this.
The Crew was officially shut down by Ubisoft over a year ago, and this didn't
Test Drive Unlimited 2 has online community service too.
just mean that you couldn't access the online parts of the game, or...
Frankly, I don't think Linux is the only thing the Crew doesn't work on. Well, it doesn't work on anything if you trust Ubisoft, but the community, they've brought it back.
That it was delisted from stores so you couldn't buy it anymore.
Carbon is
This
underrated.
meant that
True.
nobody
Very true.
could play the game at all. Everyone who purchased The Crew had that purchase essentially taken away from them.
Yep.
It was like the game was wiped from history. It was just gone. And unfortunately, Ubisoft made no...
I love the game just has wet roads to show off the graphics of the time. This is just peak racing game stuff.
From history. It was just
You know the
gone.
graphics are good because the roads are wet.
Unfortunately, Ubisoft made no effort to make the game playable offline. But a small and dedicated mod team formed The Crew Unlimited, which aimed to bring the crew back and preserve it forever. As of today, they have officially succeeded by releasing TCU to the world.
I am genuinely surprised that they announced it early and then Ubisoft didn't try to stop them. Ubisoft, I don't know if they are just not touching it so that they can maybe take some of the heat from Stop Killing Games off of them. I don't know. It surprised me so much they didn't do anything.
Now, to be clear, this isn't just some fan-hosted server that will keep the game running for a while longer and then maybe die out itself, rendering the game unplayable yet again. No, this is a fully offline patch for the game that emulates a server on your local machine that the game can run on, that nobody can take away and doesn't need an internet connection. As long as someone has the game files and the...
And now the problem is if they do take it down... The launch is there. You can't do shit anymore because the launcher files are gonna be backed up and now the game is preserved forever. Now, it's still not working on everything, you know, still some bugs to iron out. They haven't got full multiplayer working just yet, but the game itself is entirely playable.
This patch, The Crew will remain playable forever offline, and I cannot stress how important that is. Game preservation, offline compatibility, and just media preservation as a whole is a pretty hot topic these days, honestly in large part because of this game, and I cannot thank the Crew Unlimited team enough for working on this and bringing the crew back from the void. The install process is super easy, by the way.
Unless you're on
I do
Linux.
own a legitimate copy of the game through Steam, so all I had to do was install the game on Steam.
Yeah, that's the other thing. If you bought the game on Steam back when it was still for sale, Steam still has the files. So if you own the game on Steam, you can still download it.
Load and install the TCU.
So now that means a lot of people have been dumping the files. I'm not going to tell you where you can find them, but you can certainly find the files out there.
Launcher from their website, and then open it up, point the launcher to my installation, hit patch, and then launch the game. It could not have been easier. Within minutes of starting the process, I was already experiencing this awesome world yet again. Now I want to talk a bit about the crew itself, because this game is now closing in on being a decade old, and a lot of you might not have ever played it before, and might be wondering if you should check this out for the very first time. So the first crew game is really nothing like the Crew 2 or Motorfest. Yes, it does share generally the same map as TC2, but the overall tone and gameplay is completely different. The Crew 1 is a pretty serious single-player career-focused campaign with what I certainly consider to be one of the better stories told in racing games.
Wow,
now,
okay.
If I'm being honest, that's a relatively low bar anyway. It's not
Yeah, that's fair. Like, as much as I like Most Wanted, the story is pretty simple. It's like, you come to Rockport. Oh my God, Razor, he wants your BMW. Oh my God, it's somebody, they ruined your car. How's your car running? And then you lose the race, and then you lose the car to Razor, and Razor gets the BMW, and then he gets to the top of the blacklist, and now you race to get to the top of the blacklist to win your car back. That's the entire story of Most Wanted, right there.
Not like racing games are usually known for their masterful storytelling, but in a modern world full of high-energy festival racers where your only character trait is that you're a superstar, the Crew paints a very refreshingly different picture and takes on a pretty serious tone with some heavy themes. There are real characters here with strong and believable...
Oh, I love racing game physics sometimes. Look, watch the yellow car. Watch the yellow car as it comes around the corner.
Different picture and takes on a pretty serious tone with some heavy themes. There are real characters here.
What are we doing? What is this?
With strong and believable motivations, you will actually want to know what happens next in many parts of the story, and will be rooting for or against certain characters. So if you're just looking for a proper single-player career to play again and haven't played the Crew, I think you'll be really impressed with this game. And speaking of impressive, of course, the Crew's map is the entire continental United States. Not in one-to-one scale, of course, it's very much boiled down into a popular hits mashup of the country, but more or less every state or at least region is represented with a lot of major cities like LA, Miami, New York, Chicago, and more. The map is still massive, even if it's not one-to-one scale. If you played TC2, you'll of course know this. TC2's map is an evolution of the first game, but in some ways it does actually remove and downgrade certain locations and elements that made the first game feel more alive. Entire towns and dozens of landmarks were removed from the second.
If you have the game map already, why would you just delete parts of the map? What a weird choice to make.
Game, and in many ways TCU2's map feels like it was designed to be a racing game map.
This is the most American location I've ever seen. You have 1 car park, 2 car parks, 3 car parks, 4. This is for the trucks for the business here. I have never seen a scene more American than this.
Whereas TC1 feels more like a real place. There's a lot more stuff that's just kind of there to be there and to be explored. So if you did play TC2 but not the first game, I think, again, you'll be pleasantly surprised with how different the map actually is. And if you want a quick overview of how different the maps really are, Greeny over on YouTube made a really interesting video showcasing a lot of the changes. So in summary, the crew's map is enormous and alive and really well detailed with cool features like actually being able to drive to an airport to take a plane to another
Tester Unlimited 2 has a 1-to-1 size, not building and stuff, Hawaii map. Oh yeah, it does. Yeah. That's really cool.
City. It's
just needs a mall and a shitty metro station in the US. True.
An extremely fun map to just cruise around in and explore. And I think it's the second largest ever handcrafted map made for a racing game, with Fuel being the biggest and TDU2 coming behind with about the same total size, but split across 2 maps instead of just 1. In my opinion, for the map alone, this game is worth playing. Seriously. And for the story alone, this game would be worth playing. But to top that all off, it actually plays quite well too. This game has no planes or boats or anything like the newer ones. It's a completely car-focused experience.
I don't need boats in a racing game.
I think it's better for that. The handling, in my opinion, is much better than TC2, and not perfect, but I think it's pretty fun. And this is the only crew game with open-world police chases. They kind of started moving away from that in the later games, but it is a major theme of the Crew 1 and the calling all you.
Well, I guess at this point they wanted to be closer. Okay, thank you. Ban. I guess at this point they wanted to be more closer to Need for Speed.
Its expansion even lets you play as a cop in a new story. There is just a ton of stuff to do in this game. Obviously, with this being a Ubisoft game with a big old map, there are POIs scattered around
of course
everywhere,
yeah, of course there is.
Map completion objectives like uncovering the whole map for fast travel, finding all the landmarks,
it is still
all the
Ubisoft.
skill challenges and races and other events. If you like completionist or collectathon stuff, believe me, there is a lot of that in the Crew. Realistically though, at the end of the day, this was far from a perfect game. It actually reviewed somewhat poorly. And I know the racing community has kind of banded around it because it was taken away from us, and we all have a habit of looking back at old racing games with rose-tinted glasses. But ultimately, it doesn't matter if the game was a masterpiece or mediocre. It was a game that was taken away from the players who bought it, and that's not right. A small team of modders have proven that the game works offline and is still very worth playing without all
See, that's what I love. I love the fact that when people do stuff like this, it shows that everything the company local server binary. I'm almost certain for the majority of these games where companies say it's impossible to do it, there is no reason it's impossible. They just don't want to do it.
Online functionality, and even
playing racing games with keyboards sucks so hard. Accelerating is always like full step and gas pedal, and then left or right is always like steering all the way. A lot of games do have the ability to adjust how much steering input is done by pressing the key. I know not all of them do, but yeah, controller is a much better way to play a racing game. Or if you have a wheel.
Either way, whatever you prefer. Some pretty mediocre reviews on launch. I think in today's world, where more serious, story-driven, and unique racing games are becoming few and far between, the Crew stands out more than it did a decade ago, and offers something that I feel like a lot of players want back in their racing games. So if you've never played the Crew, find yourself a copy of the game on PC and get the TCU launcher so you can experience this great game for the first time. I promise it's worth it. And if you're lucky enough to have a copy already, like myself, then let this video serve as a PSA.
No, I mean a lot of games have the ability to convert key presses into like a certain amount of input. So it's like you press the key and then instead of doing a 100% turn, it's a 30% turn. It's not for every game, but a lot of games do have that.
that you can play it again. I haven't played this in years, and even though I just got started on a new save today, I'm having an absolute blast with it. Now obviously this is just the initial release for TCU, and more work is planned. The game is playable offline right now, as we've talked about, but does have a lot of online social and PvP focused features, and if TCU can keep up this momentum, we're likely to see that release as well.
That would be really
the
cool.
Full revival of The Crew. So if you want to support the development of this project, the TCU team does have a Patreon you can join. You can also check out the...
Ooh, well, okay, well, you're not dealing with Nintendo. So maybe you'll be fine? I don't know. I don't know how Ubisoft is going to treat this, because so far, they have not said anything. They've not even acknowledged it exists. But I know Nintendo would freak the fuck out if you are doing Patreon stuff with their games.
Discord or other socials for news, troubleshooting, and whatever else. And folks, thank you for watching this video and celebrating this win for game preservation with me. And hey, maybe someday soon, I'll be seeing you in The Crew.
Again, as I said earlier, I'm not able to play it on Linux right now. Right now, the server binary, I don't know what it is. Something about it just breaks. But it's been reported on the Discord, and there are devs who are devs who are working on it. There's too much grass here. This isn't America. There's way too much grass. You need more concrete and asphalt, and also there's not a big enough parking garage that's empty, or a parking lot that's empty. You need a parking lot that has like 500 spaces and there's only 30 people in it. That's the most important thing. The most important thing to know that it's America. AstroTurf. That's fair point. It is AstroTurf. Speaking of game preservation, the Plutonium Project has brought me back to play old COD games with friends like I used to as a kid. Ooh. That does sound fun. What is this? What the fuck is this? What is this image? I'm backing out just a sec, but sure. I think we'll watch one more thing after this, and then I reckon we'll be done with the stream.